I'm at fault. And that's the first thing that for me works as a power of diffusing any level of conflict becoming even much greater than what it's supposed to be.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, you're most welcome. You can be part of the family by hitting the subscribe button and liking the video. And if you're a regular visitor, thank you so much for your continued support. So today we're going to be talking about dealing with conflict resolution in a marriage. And I have stitched together some videos for us to watch together. And you are going to join me on the other side with my thoughts on this video. So please make sure you watch until the end. So right now, let's dive in.
I'm at fault. And that's the first thing that for me works as a power of diffusing any level of conflict becoming even much greater than what it's supposed to be. Is as it has happened, how did I contribute to it?
Sure.
That's for me, that just cuts the case. So if I get into that room with my bag of contribution and say, here it is.
Yeah.
I'm laying it on the floor. I'm so sorry. I forgot what you wanted me to do. It just takes what could be a Hiroshima type of an explosion and make it a non-entity. And I think the second tier of it is not even just the taking of responsibility. It's also after taking responsibility, be accountable.
Yeah.
To your spouse. Because this is the person that sees you naked every day. This is the person that has seen your worst side, your great side, all of those things. This is the person that can stand up in front of the church and say, what you're saying is exactly not true. There's this part and there's that part.
Bro.
So just take that accountability and make sure that I'm accountable to you, because I can't be accountable to anyone else. I can't be accountable to my boys and not to you. I can't be accountable to my church and not to you. I have to be accountable to you.
If you are in a committed relationship and you guys struggle with conflict and getting to the other side of it, then you're going to want to favorite this video, because I'm going to give you a tool that couples pay me thousands of dollars to use to help them solve their problems within their relationship. And I know the natural next question is, why are you going to give this to me for free when you give it to others that pay you thousands of dollars? Well, the tool is just a tool. They don't pay me for the tool. They pay me for me and helping them utilize the tool and stay accountable to it. So it's a bit different, but this tool is still powerful if you implement it within your relationship. So this tool is called the bridge. I want you to envision yourself on the opposite side of a bridge from your husband or wife, like this. Now, this bridge represents the distance between your perspectives. You're two different humans. You're going to have different perspectives from time to time. But see, the thing is, the bridge is what connects you. You can utilize the bridge or you can destroy the bridge. The thing that destroys the bridge is defensiveness, combativeness, cutting each other off, talking over each other. That's going to make this bridge between the two of you fall apart. And then you're just going to yell into the void at each other, which isn't helpful. You want to utilize the bridge and do so methodically so both of you have space to be heard and share your perspective in a meaningful way. So this is how it works. Let's just say that she is the one that presents the problem. She puts it on the table and says, this thing is bothering me. It is now his job to cross over the bridge to her side and literally just ask questions. Be curious, be a listener, be present, try to make sure that you understand what she's saying. But in doing so, you're going to leave your perspective behind. Whatever you thought was true, whatever your beliefs and your feelings about the situation are, you left them on your side of the bridge. Again, your job is to just come over here and try to understand her side as best you possibly can. You're not bringing your stuff with you. Doing this does two things for you. One, it forces you to be present because you're not trying to bring your stuff, talk over her, cut her off, anything like that. But also for her sake, she is witnessing you show up and see her, actually hear her and listen, rather than trying to wedge your way into the conversation. This builds credibility because after you've taken your time on her side of the bridge, now it's an invitation back to your side. You're going to ask her to come and hear your perspective. Now, same rules apply. So when she comes over to this side of the bridge, she's leaving her stuff behind. She's not going to bring her perspective, her opinions, her feelings. She is just there to listen, ask questions, and get curious. After she has spent her time over there, both sides have been heard, they've been seen, they've shared their perspective without anybody interrupting. And after that, three things get to happen. The first one is there should be more empathy in the room, thank God. Number two, if you've genuinely sat with the other person, listened to their perspective, and taken that on for yourself, there should be some level of a clear-cut compromise or win-win that you can both say, all right, let's do this thing, or let's move in this direction. Third thing, even if you don't have a firm conclusion from that conversation, the win is listening to and giving space to your partner. That is why so much conflict doesn't get resolved in relationships, because when someone brings up how they're feeling, the other person decides to be defensive and talk over them, or they jump on top and pour their thing on top of the problem, right? And nothing gets resolved. This model allows you both to have space to be heard and to be seen. Do you need to have a clear-cut answer and response when you're done? No, because life is not about tying it up with a nice bow at the end of one conversation. It might take multiple versions of that same conversation, but just being willing and being able to create space for both of you in this conversation is the win. If you made it this far, my assumption is that you favorited the video because you're going to utilize it. But my suggestion is share this with your partner. Don't learn this in isolation and then try to utilize it without their awareness to it. If you both have language and structure around how you navigate conflict, it gets a whole lot easier. Hey, if you're in a spot where you might want someone like myself to help guide you through this season with this model, but also having some accountability, then by all means, head to my profile, send me an email, and we'll talk.
Luther and I are very different in certain ways. One of the ways is that Luther wants to talk it out. Talk and talk.
Most men don't want to communicate.
Talk and talk about it. And I'm like, just say you're sorry, or I'll say I'm sorry, and we'll get through this, and let's keep it moving.
Just get it, go through it. And then we're going to do the same thing 2 days later because we never understand the root.
Conversation. He wants to get to the root.
So we can move past it.
He wants to dissect it and conversate about it. I'm more like, this hurt my feelings. Here's why. Here's your opportunity to say sorry.
And that helps me to exercise my patience because you're going to continue doing the same thing over and over because you just want to say, I'm sorry. I'd rather talk about it and have an understanding.
Yeah.
And so we can, that's what we all want. If I have an issue, all I want is understanding. If you're upset, help me understand what's bothering you so I'll see it your way and maybe I won't do it next time. That's how I am.
Yeah.
You just want me to say I'm sorry.
Do you know what I need to learn to say more during a conflict? Maybe that's worth exploring. Men, if she says she needs more affection and quality time with you, you could launch into why she's wrong to feel or need that. Or you could say to yourself, maybe that's worth exploring. Maybe she's not attacking me or calling me a failure, she's just giving me information about how she feels loved and valued. Ladies, if your man is vulnerable with you one day and he actually tells you he doesn't really feel desired or appreciated, he feels like all you do is put him down with your words or attitude, you could get upset because of how neglected you feel and who does he think he is after all you've done for him. Or you could say, maybe that's worth exploring. Maybe I can practice the same validation and empathy and curiosity that I expect from him when I share a feeling. Can you imagine a relationship where we didn't immediately brush their concerns, complaints, or desires aside because of our pride, ego, or shame? And this is key. It's not worth exploring only from your perspective. Part of a successful relationship is empathy, right? That's exploring their feelings or desires or hurts through their lens, not just ours. That's what love does. That's what kindness and consideration look like when it comes to understanding their point of view. This is simply about communicating to the person that we say we love that if something is important to them, it's important to us. And immediately invalidating them or criticizing them or dismissing them, that doesn't communicate anything except your feelings don't matter to me.
In marriage, there will always be ups and downs, stable and unstable times. During the unstable times, think of it like a strand of hair. One spouse is holding one end, the other spouse the other end. The trick is you got to keep this string straight. Don't let it bend and don't let it break, but find a balance. If one spouse does not respect the boundary or both of them, the string will bend, which means a weak relationship. If one spouse pulls and keeps on pulling while the other one gives in, you got to let go and disengage. When the time is right again, hold the string between each other. If both of them are stubborn and both of them are resisting and wanting their own way, eventually they'll keep pulling until the string breaks, which is a breakage of the relationship. The trick is to grab this string, this relationship. If one spouse pulls, the other spouse lets go a little bit. When the other spouse pulls and resists, the other spouse lets go a little bit. And so there is a tug of give and take, but don't let the string break, no bend.
All right. So today's topic is one that hits home for a lot of people and that is dealing with conflict resolution in a marriage. Now, let's be real. Conflict is inevitable. No matter how much you love someone, how well you know each other, or how aligned your values might be, there will be disagreements. The real issue isn't whether or not you argue, but how you argue, how you communicate during those moments, and how you move forward together. Now, conflict can be a chance to grow together or a wedge that drives people apart. So, today we're breaking down 7 key principles of conflict resolution, specifically in a marriage, what they are, how to apply them, and what to look out for. I'll be sharing examples along the way so that we are not just talking theory here. We're going to be talking about real life situations. So let's get into it. The first thing to understand is that conflict is not a sign of failure. It is a sign that two people with their own personalities, beliefs, and backgrounds are trying to live life side by side. A lot of people panic the first time a real argument happens in their marriage. They start thinking, did I marry the right person? Or why is this happening to us? But to be honest, conflict is normal. It's how you handle it that makes or breaks the relationship. I think of it like this: two people can be in love and still see things differently. One person might be more private, the other more expressive. One might be able to deal with stress by withdrawing, the other by venting. That difference isn't the problem. The unspoken expectations are. So, for example, your partner is quiet after work and you take it personally. You think they are mad at you when really they just need some time to decompress. Instead of jumping to conclusions or building resentment, you can say something like, "Hey, I noticed you've been quiet lately. I just want to make sure everything's okay between us." That one sentence opens the door to connection instead of conflict. One of the fastest ways to make conflict worse is to start playing the blame game. You know the drill. You would say things like, "You always do this," or "You never listen," or "This is your fault." As soon as blame enters the conversation, defenses go up. No one feels heard when they're being accused. A better approach to use is the I statements instead of the you accusations. Let's say your spouse forgot your anniversary. Instead of saying, "You obviously don't care about me, you never make me a priority," try, "I felt really hurt and unimportant when our anniversary was forgotten. That day means a lot to me." The second version invites understanding instead of shame. It keeps the focus on how you feel, not tearing them down. Conflict isn't about winning, it's about understanding. Moving on, okay, this one is huge. When you choose to have the hard conversation, that's when it really matters, right? The time that you choose to have the hard conversation really matters. Bringing up an emotional topic when your partner just got home from a long day or when they're stressed or distracted, that's like trying to have a deep talk during a tornado. It's not going to end well, right? So learn to ask, is this a good time to talk? If the answer is no, that's okay. You can still say, "I really want us to talk about something important, but I want to make sure we're both in the right headspace. When would be a better time?" That's grown up communication, and it shows your goal isn't to attack, but to actually solve something together. Also, don't try to resolve things when you're boiling mad. Sometimes you need to cool off before you can talk clearly. That's not avoidance, it's wisdom. Moving on, it's important to say that most people don't listen. They wait for their turn to speak. And when both people do that, nothing gets resolved. In marriage, one of the most powerful tools is learning to listen to understand, not to be right. Let your partner finish their thought without interrupting. Instead of thinking about your comeback, ask yourself, what are they really trying to say? So, here's an example. Your spouse would say something like, I feel like I'm doing everything around here and you don't notice. Instead of jumping in with, well, I work all day too, or that's not true, try saying, okay, I hear you. You feel overwhelmed and like you're not being supported. Let's talk about how we can balance things better. That right there, that's how healing begins. People soften when they feel heard. Let's now talk about ego, because sometimes the biggest barrier to resolving conflict is not the issue, it's our need to be right. Marriage isn't about keeping score, it's not a courtroom. It's not about who's right. It's not about what's right. It's all about what's right for the relationship, rather. There are times when you might win the argument but lose the connection. Was it worth it? Choosing unity means asking yourself, is what I'm about to say going to bring us closer or drive us apart? It's about being willing to apologize even when you didn't intend to hurt the other person. You might say, I didn't mean it that way, but I can see how it came off hurtful. I'm sorry. Humility builds bridges, while pride builds walls. Now, every couple should have a basic conflict resolution game plan. It's not about controlling how you feel, it's about knowing how to respond when things get heated. Now, here are a few things you can agree on together. The first one being no yelling. Once voices go up, listening goes down. The second one is no name calling because words stick. The third one is take breaks when needed. It's okay to pause and come back with a clear head. The fourth one is stick to the issue. Don't bring up old stuff to win a fight. The fifth one is end with love. Even if you're frustrated, let your partner know. We'll get through this. It might sound basic, but a simple game plan can save you from spiraling out during a fight. So, here's a real life example. A couple I know agreed that anytime things got too tense, they would use a reset phrase like, let's take a breath. I love you and we're on the same team. That one phrase changed everything for them. It reminded them they weren't enemies, that they were partners. Now, last but not the least, please know when to get help. There is zero shame in needing guidance, whether it's couples therapy, a marriage counselor, a spiritual advisor. Sometimes we need a neutral third party to help us navigate the deeper stuff. If you find yourself stuck in the same fight or the communication always ends in shutdowns or blowups, it might be time to reach out for support. And I'll say this too, not every marriage is safe. If there's manipulation, emotional abuse, or physical harm involved, conflict, conflict resolution isn't the answer. Safety is. Please take that seriously. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do for your marriage is just ask for help. So, there you have it, 7 principles for dealing with conflict in a marriage. The first one is understand that conflict is normal. Secondly, avoid the blame game. Thirdly, pick the right time. Fourthly, listen to understand. Fifthly, choose unity over ego. Sixthly, have a conflict game plan. And last but not the least, know when to seek help. Now, conflict doesn't mean your marriage is broken. It means you're both still showing up. You're both still learning. You're both still fighting for each other. If you made it this far, thank you so much for spending time with me. If this helped you, let me know in the comments. What's one thing you've learned about conflict in your relationship? What's worked for you? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who might need a reminder that love doesn't mean perfection. It means showing up with patience, grace, and a willingness to grow. Take care of your heart, and most importantly, take care of each other. I'll see you in the next one. From me, it's goodbye.